The Galactic Academy, a prestigious institution for training elite soldiers and strategists, drew promising cadets from across the galaxy. Among them were Kalians with their mental telepathy, Gorash with their exoskeletal armor, and the Valerii with natural bioelectricity. This year, however, included something unprecedented. 5 human cadets from a fledgling planet known as Earth. To the more advanced alien species, humans were odd, primitive in some respects, wildly innovative in others. The Academy's commandant, General Creve, had his doubts about these new recruits. Sure, humans were inventive, but their planet had barely developed interstellar travel. Yet, here they were, one of the first groups of humans ever allowed in the Galactic Academy. To see what they could do, he devised a test, one usually reserved for the final year cadets. The challenge? Build a planetary defense system in under 1 hour. It was a near impossible task, meant to simulate the high-stakes situations elite soldiers might face under real galactic threats. Alien students had failed it for generations, or, at best, constructed rudimentary defenses that barely held. As the test commenced, General Creve and his officers observed the 5 human cadets from behind a holoscreen. "Let's see if the primates even know where to begin," he murmured to his lieutenant, smirking. But then, something curious happened. The humans didn't waste any time discussing strategy or arguing about the layout. They simply started. "All right, Mike," said Emma, the group's de facto leader. "You take the drones. Mark, build a shield generator. Leah, we need missile emplacements around the North and South Poles. Jonas, satellite network. I'll handle command center logistics." Each cadet nodded, instantly focused. They began tapping away on their holopads, issuing commands in rapid succession. To General Creve's shock, in the first 5 minutes, they'd already mapped out a full-scale defense plan. What was even stranger was the way they worked, seamlessly moving between tasks, as if sharing the same thoughts. The human ability to multitask, collaborate under stress, and adapt in real time was something the Academy hadn't accounted for. Most alien species struggled with complex, large-scale planning, needing a long time to coordinate and communicate effectively. But these humans? They were like a single organism with 5 minds. By the 10-minute mark, Mark had established the foundation for a shield generator, a rotating barrier around the planet's upper atmosphere to deflect incoming projectiles. Jonas deployed a series of satellite drones with advanced targeting algorithms, providing them with an early warning system for any intruders. Emma shouted across the simulated battlefield, "Mike, link the drones with Jonas's satellites. I want every inch of this planet covered." Creve squinted, watching the network they were creating. They were doing things backward, upside down, and entirely out of order. But somehow, each part they assembled slid into place seamlessly, like a chaotic symphony. 15 minutes in, and Leah had constructed the framework for missile launchers at each pole, now assembling them to rotate and self-repair. Meanwhile, Mike was retrofitting drones to serve as both surveillance and mini-turrets, tiny but deadly. Creve leaned forward in shock. The humans were ahead of schedule. "Do they realize what they're doing?" one of the alien officers muttered. Creve had no answer. He was just as stunned. 20 minutes later, the humans had more than a rudimentary defense. They had a system so advanced that Creve had to double-check his readings to believe them. It had shields, rapid response drones, missile silos, and surveillance capabilities. And they weren't just finished. They were refining the system. At 25 minutes, they'd linked the entire network back to a central AI that Emma was overseeing, refining targeting parameters and coordinating every subsystem. By the half-hour mark, they sat back, not out of exhaustion, but calm satisfaction. They'd finished 5 minutes early. Emma glanced up at the holoscreen where the generals watched them, a knowing grin tugging at her mouth. "Defense system is up and running, General Creve. We're ready for inspection." For a moment, the room was silent. General Creve's mandibles clicked in disbelief. "You, 5 cadets, constructed an entire planetary defense system in half the allotted time?" His tone was a mix of awe and a reluctant admiration. "How did you—" Emma shrugged, her grin widening. "We've got a saying on Earth. Necessity is the mother of invention. We've also got a lot of experience working with tight deadlines. And if I'm honest, we work better under pressure." Creve could hardly believe it. Your methods are unorthodox, chaotic even. How did you know it would work? Mark chuckled. Honestly, we didn't. But that's how humans innovate. Test, fail fast, adapt. One of the first things we learn is that we can't be afraid to make mistakes. Creve nodded, his mandibles clicking thoughtfully. He had underestimated the humans, dismissed them as primitive. But he was beginning to understand. Humans brought a raw, instinctive creativity to every challenge. They weren't just cadets. They were trailblazers. As the human cadets left the simulation room, Creve turned to his officers. It seems we have much to learn from our Earthling allies, he said. Today, we witnessed a new kind of defense, not just technological, but mental. If this is what their cadets can do, imagine what their veterans are capable of. And somewhere, in the vastness of the galaxy, a message went out to all Galactic Academy branches. Beware the humans. They are far more dangerous than we ever imagined.